But yeah, the player versus player aspect is something that when you're on the outside looking in and you're not super aware of how fighting games work like that, a lot of people really equate it to, oh, well, it's just about, you doing combos. Actually, now that you mention, I have a story to add to that. When I was at my workplace, it's another event that happened Sunday, actually. Pretty interesting. So I'm just gonna go about pausing real quick, go about doing this, because anytime that I'm multitasking and doing this shit, I'm dying. Anyways, so I had this girl that went about coming in with presumably her boyfriend, I guess. I'm not sure. Not getting into their business because I honestly don't give a fuck. But they had one about coming in talking about a Street Fighter, and basically she was talking about how Street Fighter basically is about, doing like the biggest combo, possible from the game. I was like, are you talking about Street Fighter 5? It's like, nah, you're just talking about Street Fighter in general. I was like, nah, Street Fighter is way more than just about doing a big combo. I mean, you gotta be able to get to it first. You gotta still be able to go about playing the footsie and neutral with people. And some characters, they don't have large combos to go about doing. Like, you've had some really good characters that haven't really had that big of combos to go about doing to you. Like, Gal is just like, for a prime example, like he's just one of those characters that, just really solid with his tool set to where that, well, he may not necessarily do like that much like combo like to you or have like high combo potential, but just because of like his footsies and stuff like that and his neutral game that he has with his tool set is strong to be able to handle majority of like situations for him, pretty handily with like what he got going on. So it was like, just talking to her, like, and I can most definitely see within like casual aspect of a lot of people taking it as that, fighting games is just like, I learned this big ass combo, I hit you with it, unga unga, I won. It's not like that. There's a lot that goes into it, and when you have people who are on like a similar level to each other, you can most definitely see like the thought process that goes on between the two. It's not as easy as some people try to put it out to be, and even still with learning a combo, like there's many parts to it that a lot of people seem to not really take into consideration as well. Like, you can learn like the biggest combo within like any game, but you gotta do it first. You have to be able to do it to somebody. Is it even practical for me to do it? Maybe not. And within like, a balanced type of game, usually like with doing like these types of things, there's a high execution barrier, or you gotta like spend a lot of resources to make that type of shit happen. So, this goes about, most definitely showing the misunderstanding of how fighting games works, basically, between somebody who is really putting in time into it versus like the people on the outside just watching. Yeah, what up, Karen? And you know what, Jay? Within new games, I would actually say that some reset situations would be way worse than like you just doing a long ass combo anyway. So I mean, like beforehand, of some of the games, like Street Fighter's never really been that type of game that has super long in-depth combos for the most part. And if we're counting, like, unless we're not counting like Street Fighter 4, because you do have a few of those where it's like you have a lot of shit that you can do to somebody, and not the Alpha series, because I feel like that in its own is its own beast. But like just like Street Fighter 2, like Third Strike, hell, even Street Fighter 5, they don't really have like their super long combos to go about doing, and within the few exceptions that they do have them, like them shits is kind of hard to do. Like doing like a, for example, like Urian's like a like third strike combo where like putting like there's a combo he has where like he can do like fucking three like chariot tackles to you. Like that shit is hard because you got to go about doing like charge partition within it. Or, like you just have to be really just good within charging in general to do so. And then a lot of that stuff was really like strict on timing too. Execution was fucking hard. Like you really had to like be on your shit to do some of the stuff that was there, especially in Third Strike. Like that, this combos like the extensive ones within that game were not easy. Hell, even doing some simple ones were not all that easy to do. Some of them really require like you having to have the situation too within your favor. So there's too many dynamics to like throw out to somebody. Trust me, it's kind like it's not super hard to explain per se. It's just hard to like really implement per se. Like I've been told as far as basically how it works, and how you can go about doing so. And I know a lot of like there's a good amount of like tricks you can go about doing with like the whole charging thing in general, but it's more so making them happen within a real match with everything else going on that you're doing. Yeah, combos can be still be difficult too. I don't think they're the hardest of thing to do, but even something like that, I would say, does require a good amount of execution to do. So it just depends. But even for example of looking at something like if you look at the NVC games, right? All of those combos that can go about doing to somebody, especially like in the earlier versions, like X-Men versus Street Fighter, like Marvel superheroes and shit like that. Those combos were hard as fuck to do. Like they were no joke. Have you ever tried doing like Iron Man combos and fucking Marvel superheroes? I mean, just like basic ones, not like doing like the infinites that they have. I mean, just basic shit. Yo, there's one combo he has where like he does what is I think like crouching like medium, like crouch mid kick into like a fly cancel into like down heavy. Into, it's one of those things where it's like, man, if I can go about just doing like this small portion, I'll be happy with my life. And it leads into like a tech trap, I believe, or some shit. Aw, man. I'm just saying, you felt good about the little things back in the day because them shits were hard to do. And you still had to play like the neutral to get to the point of doing some of the stuff that people go about trying to equate to being like cheap or overbearing. So that's why like when I go on Twitter and I look at a lot of times of some of the combos that are there, for a lot of games, not to say that I'm not impressed, but I do think about it within a practical manner. Like, yo, am I going to be able to actually do this to somebody in a match? What do I need to go about being able to make this happen in a match? Just basic shit like that. So, like I said, when it comes to like this casual dynamic versus like, more of like an adept, I guess, or more of a pro level of looking at some of these things, this type of stuff is really heavily considered as to, rather if this is something that's really good to go about doing or not, or, if this really is what the game is about. Because there's a lot of games that have their own meta to it. If anything, just about every game that has like options to it has their own meta to it. And not to say like that you can't play against the mode of a meta, because depending on the game itself you can, and that's also why there's different character choices. However, you just have some things that where, for example, if you're not playing keeping in mind of like these type of situations within the game, then you're gonna be losing out basically. Pretty much, if you want like the condensed version of it, there's rules to every game that you play, and if you don't know the rules of said game, you're probably gonna get blown up. And not to say again that you can't play against said meta, but if you're playing anti-meta, you're still aware of the meta to be able to play against said meta. You know, it'd be like, you trying to state like you're going against the mode of things by playing like this obscure character when you're not even sure what the mode is that you're trying to go against. Like, I can't play as far as like anti-meta, like for example, let's say that, like we're playing with like this hyper offensive meta. Like I can't play against it if I'm not aware of like how this hyper offensive meta works with like this super defensive character that I have to be able to, eliminate like options and shit like that they may try to go about implementing on me. So like when I was talking to the girl that came in onto my job, I basically just like, I understand like where you're trying to go with it because, it's not to say combos are not important, but combos within any game that you go about playing, like fighting games, like it's just a natural part of it. So, I mean, I could say that combos are important for any game if you want to be fair, but I feel like combos are really just a small part of the pie because working up into it is really the big part. You have some people who are phenomenal when they get like an expected situation, but have you seen those people who go about hitting you with like random shit and they turn into a combo? That shit is scary. Have you seen the people who like play footsies with you and then that conversion that happens within neutral just turns into some bullshit? Those are the type of people that you should be worried about. The people who play neutral with you so well that like any little thing that goes about happening to you turns into some type of fucked up situation. Not even a combo, just something that's advantageous towards them. Like, ooh, we were playing neutral and then I got knocked down and now he's standing over me and I don't know what he's gonna do and I'm scared and I kinda want a reversal, but he doesn't establish so much respect. I don't want to do that. I don't know what to do. Oh man, I woke up, I just blocked and he grabbed me. You know what, fuck it. So basically, when it comes to it, like, if you do go about playing a fighting game, do just try your best to digest everything as easy as possible. Try to make it as fun and relative to other shit that you already are aware of as possible. And try not to go about like beating yourself up about simple things. Like, if you like a character and you feel like you can win with said character, I'm not gonna tell you to go about dropping said character. Just keep working on them. If you feel like that your neutral is not where it should be within the game, just acknowledge, like, view the tapes, acknowledge what is happening to you and what you're doing within the neutral that may be keeping you from like getting to the positions that you want. Because that's one thing too from games that try to go about talking to people about is basically putting yourself in like ideal positions. Like, for example, like one old school like mentality, like, once you get somebody to the corner of like, with some characters, you basically go about scoping out certain things that are trying to be done. So it's like, for example, when I play with like Ryu, 9 times out of 10 I get somebody to the corner, I'm peeping for that jump in. So like, I'm gonna go about, trying to throw out some normals to try to play footsies with you while you're in the corner, but I'm still looking out for that jump though. Hell, there's points in times I'm buffering as far as doing a DP just in case that I do see you jump in anticipation of it happening. So it's a lot to it. Just take it a step at a time, play to what feels good to you, and just try to go about playing as best of your game that you can. And that's pretty much all you can do. So don't even think about combos, because combos are going to come second nature to everything else you're doing. Worry about being able to like not get open up off of random dumbass shit. Yeah, and that's basically what I'm trying to say too, Ethan. Like sometimes, like just if you have just like small errors of margin within shit, like that can be more than a game changer than like somebody who is like when they have an optimal situation happening of being able to do this big ass ballerific combo. Because you have some people like me, which like there's a lot of times because I myself am a Marvel player too, where like I would just hit people with random shit and it would just turn into a combo because I go about looking for these types of things. Cause so like my awareness whenever it comes to like these type of situations, which translates into like other games too, like Dragon Ball Fighters, where I get like random ass hits on people and it's like okay, this is a combo now. And there's a lot of people that go about asking me like, yo, like how are you going about doing some of the shit? Like, it just seems like there's some points in times where we're just playing neutral, and then the neutral turns into like you doing this big ass fucking combo to me. It's like I'm just looking for stuff. That's basically what it like the game boils down to. You're looking for certain stuff to basically exploit. And it's not one of those things that you simply just like learn overnight. It really just comes from like you playing or putting yourself in those positions of playing these games that really demand you to do so. And Marvel vs. Capcom is one of those games that really does demand that from you because there's a lot to be aware of, and there's a good amount of moments where you can go about taking advantage of certain things, but you really have to be willing to do so. I mean, it's okay. For to be honest with you, Karen, like for what is going on with right now, like I've been growing pretty well. So like I'm happy with where I'm at as of right now. I just want to consistently have like people at least be able to come and go about enjoying me for what I am and for what I'm just going about providing. Um, it's a slow but steady process, and this knowledge is most definitely something that can be spread to other people. I mean, we got the interwebs, and you can go about clipping shit, and I'll go about saving this. I'll make sure to go about doing so, just so I can go back and review the tapes. But yeah, though, like it's something that really that people just have to go about like putting themselves in this position of doing to really get to that type of mindset of looking for these types of things. Was one thing as to why, well, one reason why I go about advocating people to play different things, because not every game is going to give you the same experience, even if it's something that's similar. Like there's different things that can be applied within that game, or different things you can learn from that game that you could implement within like just mindset to like other things you go about playing. Like I would most definitely